Hello, everybody, and welcome to Intermediate Accounting 17th edition video solution walkthrough. This is for exercise 611. This is taken from the Intermediate Accounting 17th edition textbook, authors Don Kiso, Jerry Weinget, and Terry Warfield. The question used in this presentation is copyright 2019 by John Wiley and Sons. All rights reserved for educational purposes only. The video may not be distributed or redistributed without the express permission of Wiley. This solution presentation is copyright 2019 to 2021 by Bennett Tchaikovsky. All rights are reserved. The opinions contained within this presentation are those of Bennett Tchaikovsky and not the authors of the textbook or of Wiley. Okay, let's have some accounting fun. So here we've got exercise 611, evaluation of purchase options. Rizzo Excavating is purchasing a bulldozer. The equipment has a price of $100,000 manufactured. It is offered a payment plan that would allow Rizzo to make 10 equal annual payments of $16,274.53, with the first payment due 1 year after the purchase. Okay, so how much total interest will Rizzo pay on this payment plan? And then we have here Rizzo could borrow $100,000 from its bank to finance the purchase at an annual rate of 9%. Should Rizzo borrow from the bank or use the manufacturer's payment plan to pay for the equipment? Okay, so what's interesting is that this question, there's a concept called the internal rate of return, which is something that we go through in managerial accounting. And what exactly is the internal rate of return? If I have 10 payments, okay, and my 10 payments are $16,274.53. Okay, so those are my 10 payments. And in year zero, if I'm paying out $100,000, what we call the internal rate of return is what makes the net present value equal to zero. What exactly does that mean? Well, what interest rate? And to kind of take a further step back, okay, if we have similar payments going forward for the next 10 years, this is what we call an annuity, okay? And the annuity has a constant value. So if we were to take these payments and present value them back to today, we would need to know the interest rate. But in this case over here, we don't know what our interest rate is. Rather, we're trying to figure out, we're being offered something over here at 9%. Should we borrow from the bank or use a manufacturer's payment plan to pay for the equipment? So what I want to try to figure out and do is what is the interest rate that is being inferred by this payment structure? So if I kind of go through and think about this, right? Let's see, how would we figure this out? So if I take a payment, which is here, $16,274.53, I'm going to multiply this by a factor, which is basically the present value of an ordinary annuity of $1. And this is going to be 10 periods at blank percent. We don't know what the percentage is, but we know that the annuity is going to be paid for 10, basically 10 times. So this is going to equal $100,000. And again, it's essentially what makes the net present value equal to zero or to the amount that we're looking for. So to isolate this, what we're going to do is we're going to take the amount of the 100,000, divide it by 16,274.53. And what this is going to give us is going to give us the present value of an ordinary annuity of $1, 10 periods at blank percent. So if I take 100,000 divided by 16,274.53, I get 6.144570688. What do I do now? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over here to my present value of an ordinary annuity of $1, and I'm going to go hunting. Okay, what am I hunting for? Well, I'm hunting for an interest rate. So if I come over here to the present value of an ordinary annuity $1, I see this 10. This is the number of times of the payments that are going to be made, right? So we've got 10 payments here. And the value I'm looking for is 6.144570688. So let's go over here. So I got 6.14, oh, right over here. So I'm being charged. There's an implicit interest rate in this particular question of 10%. So at 10%, the present value of an ordinary of $1 is going to be equal to 10 at 10 is 6.14457. Or right over here. Okay. So the value of this, so again, what are we trying to do here? What I'm trying to figure out is that what is the interest rate being implied by this payment plan? Well, what's being implied over here is that if I take 16,274.53 and I multiply that by a factor of, because it's an annuity, present value of an ordinary annuity of $1, 10 periods at 10%, this is going to be 6.14457. When I multiply these together, I get a total of 99,999, right? So over here, I've got my interest or my initial payment of 100,000. So this is what we call the internal rate of return, or what makes this net present value go to 0. So this one right over here is going to be 6.14457. I would strongly recommend to you, if this is the first time you're seeing this, I would go to some of my videos on bonds and on present value in general, just because if you don't understand the present value concept, for example, when do we use a present value of $1 table versus the annuity of $1 table, that's what we kind of want to understand. Okay. If I look at the actual amount of interest that's going to be paid, if I take this, multiply it by 10, I subtract out the principal amount, the total amount of interest that's going to be paid, which is the answer to letter A, is going to be roughly $62,745.30. When I look at this over here now, I know that I'm being charged 10% because that's essentially what this equates out to. So if I could borrow $100,000 from its bank to finance the purchase at an annual rate of 9%, I should probably go ahead and use the bank financing. So it's a better interest rate. I'd be paying less in terms of payments. So that is exercise 6-11. I'm just going to go make sure that I did this right. Okay, so we did it correctly. So in any event, I want to thank you all for joining me here today. I also want to thank Wiley for enabling me to share these videos publicly. I think it does a lot of good than just sharing them just to my class. So anyways, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any requests for other videos, please feel free to reach out. Have a great one.